Assalamualaikum and very good morning to our lecturer, which is Sir Azam. Okay, firstly, we would like to say thank you to Sir because give us a golden opportunity to present our presentation in this video for today. Okay, we take Toshiba company as our company case study. Okay, secondly, we would like to introduce ourselves. Me, myself, Siti Nurul Najwa binti Muhammad Syahizan, and my ID number is 221332210.
My name is Shazana Afika, and my ID number is 62213121207.
My name is Nur Syamimi binti Muhammad Azizi, and my ID number is 62213322068.
My name is Siti Sarah Darwisha binti Rosli, and my ID number is 62213322117. I will start this presentation with the introduction of accounting fraud in general. Accounting fraud refers to the intentional manipulation or alteration of financial record in order to deceive investor, creditor or regulator. This unethical practice has gained prominence in the corporate world as firms seek to boost their earnings or hide losses. Accounting fraud is detrimental as it can damage the reputation of firm, cause financial loss to investor and lead to the downfall of businesses. There are several types of accounting fraud, including revenue recognition fraud, expense manipulation, inventory fraud, and financial statement fraud. Accounting fraud is a serious issue that have far-reaching consequences for business, investor, and the economy at large. It is important for a company to have strong internal control, ethical leadership, and culture of transparency, of honesty to prevent accounting fraud. Regulators also play an important role in combating accounting fraud by enforcing accounting standards and conducting independent audit to identify and prosecute fraudulent activities. Next is I will explain the following term. First one is tone at the top. Tone at the top refers to the ethical and moral value that are set by the senior management of an organization. It is responsibility of the top management to set a tone of integrity and ensure that the employees of organization abide by ethical values. In the case of Toshiba Corporation, the lack of sufficient tone at the top lead to one of the largest accounting scandal in Japanese history. The executive of Toshiba Corporation will find guilty of inflating the company profit by $1.2 billion over the course of 7 years. The lack of ethical value in the top management lead to culture where employees felt it was acceptable to manipulate the company financial record. The second one is asymmetric information. Asymmetric information refers to a situation where one party has more or better information than the other party in a transaction or negotiation. In the context of audit fraud case of Toshiba Corporation, asymmetric information refers to the fact that the company's top executive had more information about the company's financial situation than the auditors who is conducting the audit. The executive were able to manipulate the financial statement and conceal the fraud, while the auditor remained unaware of the fraudulent activity taking place. This asymmetry of information between the top executive and the auditor made it difficult for the auditor to detect and report the fraudulent activities, resulting in a major scandal for the company. The third one is role and responsibility of Board of Directors. The Board of Directors of Toshiba Corporation has the responsibility to ensure that the company financial statements are accurate and comply with the accounting principle and regulation. This includes overseeing the work of the auditor, reviewing and improving the budget, and make sure the company's internal control and risk management system are effective. The board of directors is also responsible that the company's code of conduct and ethics policies are followed by the employees, and that management is held accountable for its action. In the case of Toshiba Corporation, the board of directors failed to perform its responsibilities. As a result, the company suffered from a massive accounting fraud scandal that led to $1 million loss and the resignation of top executive. Next is human biasness and personal interest. Human biasness and personal interest is an example that can lead to audit fraud of Toshiba Corporation. For instance, auditors may face pressure from the management or partner of the firm, and they easily ignore fraudulent activity because they want to maintain a long-term relationship with the client. The auditor also want to avoid losing their business in the long run. Moreover, auditor may also have personal interest toward Toshiba Corporation, such as owning stock or share in the company, which can influence their decision-making and make it challenging for them to remain objective and independent. The last one is fiduciary duty. Fiduciary duty is a legal obligation that requires board of directors to act in the best interest of their company and its shareholders. This duty also include exercising their power with maximum care, honesty, and loyalty. In the case of Toshiba Corporation, the board of directors failed to fulfill their fiduciary duty by allowing the company's executive to manipulate its financial statement, resulting in 1.2 billion overstatement of profit. The board of directors had a responsibility to ensure Toshiba financial report were accurate and complied with accounting standard. Instead, they either knowingly or negligently allowed senior executives to involve in fraudulent accounting practices that misled investors and created a false impression of the company's financial health.
So now we will talk about the scandal of Toshiba Corporation, which is be our case study company. Okay, so international business Toshiba Corporation has its headquarters in Minato, Tokyo, Japan. One of the business that manufacture the biggest electronic device, home appliances, and social infrastructure gear is Toshiba Corporation. Produce a wide variety of goods, including nuclear energy and computer chips. But in 2015, the Securities and Exchange Surveillance Commission, which is SECS, was compelled to file a report pursuant to Article 26 of the Financial Instrument and Exchange Act after Toshiba Company reported operating profit that were at least 1.2 billion, which is amount 151.8 billion yen, overstated between 2008 and 2014. After receiving an anonymous email demonstrating accounting fraud committed by the corporation, Toshiba Corp was the subject of an investigation by the Security and Exchange Surveillance Commission. This is how the accounting issue at Toshiba was discovered and made public. In April 2015, the public became aware of Toshiba deceptive accounting claim Rahman K.M. and Mark B. 2016. An investigation was also conducted on the auditor, whose Ernst & Young Nihon LLC, a member of Ernst & Young known as multinational professional service firm headquarters in London, England, due to the malpractice auditing practice in Toshiba Corporation. In early April 2014, Japan, a famous country also known as Land of the Rising Sun, were astounded with the news of accounting misconduct in Toshiba Corporation. The entire globe was surprised with the news. The scandal was directly linked to unscrupulous unscrupulous accounting practice such as booking future profit yearly, pushing back losses, pushing back charges, and changing revenue and liability side by side. After the charge was made against the company, Toshiba Corporation decided to appoint an independent investigation committee, also known as the Third Party Panel, to conduct an investigation on allegation of fraud. On July 20, 2015, a report nearly 300 pages had compiled by the committee and submitted it to Toshiba Prop found evidence of inappropriate accounting by at least 151.8 billion yen and a serious manipulation in financial year accounting from 2009 to 2014 across the company. As stated by George W.R. October 2015, found that Toshiba has engaged in improper accounting that result US 1.2 billion of inflated profit. In the course of the all employees of Toshiba, they have taken place for over 7 presidents in 2015. Investigation, a few interviews, we found that improper accounting years embroiling 2 previous 2005 till 2009 at Satoshi Nishida and 2009 to Sasaki, along with the current president Hisao Tanaka in this case. This demonstrated that the offenders are among Toshiba Corporation CEO and high-ranking officials. The former CEO, which is Atsutoshi Nishida, began the accounting misconduct in 2008. He was an aggressive leader by putting intense pressure on subordinates and employees to meet sales target. Nishida had set the strict target known as challenges, where failure will not be accepted. The employees felt they had to use every available means to meet the challenges, such as to delay losses on forward their sales on accounting. He did this malpractice accounting statement due to the global financial crisis, which put pressure on the Toshiba's profitability and continue under the next CEO, which is Norio Sasaki. After the independent...
We proceed with number 3. Fraud is defined as an intentional dishonesty that is perpetrated by a company or individual for financial advantage. The pressure, opportunity, and also rationalization factors are the 3 factors that increase the likelihood of occupational fraud, according to the fraud triangle, according to our chapter 11. To put it another way, fraud is an dishonest conduct done to gain an advantage or make money illegally. For instance, it is fraud when an employee steals money from the cash register of the business, so the employee would gain by receiving extra money at the expense of the business. Starting from pressure, the appropriate motivation can persuade otherwise honest workers to think of defrauding their company. Based on financial pressure, Toshiba was under intense pressure to meet its financial targets and increase profit in a highly competitive industry. So it gave pressure on senior executives to meet performance target to keep the shareholder satisfied. On the other hand, for shareholder, pressure shows that Toshiba was under pressure from its shareholder to increase their profit and also share price, and the company executive were keen to avoid disappointing investor. So Japan has a culture of face shaving, where individuals and companies are expected to maintain their reputation and status. Second, the complex accounting practices, which Toshiba had complex accounting practices which made it easier for executives to manipulate the financial results by exploiting the loopholes in the company's financial reporting. And so for the last condition that can motivate a person to conduct unethical behavior or fraud is rationalization. So a common justification for fraud, according to the anti-fraud specialist, it is that necessary for a company to commit fraud to survive a financial crisis. So first, rationalizing the fraud as a one-time event. Toshiba executive involved in the fraud may have rationalized it as a one-time event to meet the company's financial targets rather than a systemic problem. Second, believe that the end justifies the means of the executive involved may have a belief that the end goal of meeting financial target justified the means of manipulating financial result. So lastly, the pressure from the superior from the case senior executive may have felt a pressure from the supplier to meet the financial target and keep the shareholder happy or satisfied, and may have rationalized their action as necessary to keep their job and the company afloat. That's why they created the fraud.
Thank you to my friend. Now I will continue this our presentation. For the Toshiba Corporation fraud case involved the falsification of financial statement by the company, leading to the overstatement of profit by 1.2 billion between 2008 and 2014. The consequence and penalty for the various parties involved as follow. For the first one is auditor, Japan money related controller, financial service agency, which mean FSA, had fined an Ernst and Young partner with 2.1 billion yen, which is 70.4 million, after the failure of spotting the disagreement when reviewing the Toshiba Corporation record in the nation excessively terrible bookkeeping outrage in years. Additionally, the Ernst and Young Shin Nihon LLC will be disallowed from getting new business contract for a quarter of the year, or which means 3 months, according to the FSA administrator. Additionally, the FSA stated that the fine imposed on Toshiba was proportionate to the 2-year payment of Shin Nihon auditor fee. A senior FSA authorized said that there was a grave break of obligation during a new session. The reason behind the saying was because the bookkeeping that were in charge for Toshiba had not changed for more than the audit regulatory had permitted, resulting for them to have a strong sense of trust toward Toshiba for not taking any illegal action to solve their problem. With almost 4,000 clients for their 3,500 certified bookkeeper to work with, Shin Nihon has long since established itself as the greatest company in the bookkeeping service sector in Japan. Toshiba was one of the companies in Japan that used the governance community management strategy. From what we can see, that Toshiba had a good reputation. However, after the fraud happened, they were seen as an example of a company in deterioration in overall service lens at Japan. Thus, investors received the opposite of what they wanted, which was the property of being rational, consistent and successful. So, the Toshiba company had treated the trust in their accounting, affected their stock market in Japan, and declining their shareholder confidence. Other than that, lessons were learned from Toshiba manner in conducting themselves. Toshiba was added to the on alert list by the Tokyo Stock Exchange (TSE) and established as the internal lead control. Additionally, investors from a different nation sued the company in an effort to recover losses caused from inappropriate accounting. According to Toshiba, they would make unspecified provision to cover any refunds. For the management, in an announcement, it was that when specialists from an independent board of administrators analyzed Toshiba dishonest bookkeeping, They found that the fraud was detected by taking into the account administrator decision. The two CEO were not aware of this revelation, which causes the present delay and create one of the biggest issue Toshiba had faced since it was founded. Both domestically and internationally, the extravagant profit made by one of Japan's active partner had a significant influence. When the committee that was overseen by Yuda Koichi, the former superintendent prosecutor of Tokyo High Public, had published that the report, it was causes two of Toshiba current and pioneer chief executive to resign. There was also 6 different executive others then withdraw from Toshiba board of director alongside Tanaka Hisa, the president Sasaki Norio, the vice chairman, and Nishida, the senior advisor. During the leadership of Sasaki was when the unprofessional bookkeeping was taken up. Sasaki was complained to make out losses income after Lehman Brothers went under and the cost of to Toshiba debtor was not concentrated. With the investigative report making the round, the Security and Exchange Surveillance Commission in Japan would launch an audit inspection. This inspection could not be rejected and it was serve as a legal defense if Toshiba were to be sued. Next, for the shareholder, after that, the Toshiba scandal shocked many people all around the world. Many investors lost confidence and trust. The shareholder has lost of investor confidence got worse. They also face lawsuit and losses because of the lower share occur. There are a few companies that set a fire such as Mitsubishi and affiliate Master Trust Bank of Japan, Japan Trusted Service Bank, and affiliate of Sumitomo Mitsui Trust Holding and Resona Bank and Trust Custody Service Bank, a subsidiary of Mizuho Financial Group. In addition, Toshiba Corporation already is issued by 50 individual shareholders, followed by the 3 former chief executive and 2 chief financial officer. The company share fell to the lower stock so that the shareholders started to claim for the compensation due to the problem. In Japan, it is usually for organizations who has previously experienced serious crisis in financial to take action such as reducing their capital in order to start getting gain back. As a result, Toshiba decided to take an action it would let it keep offering higher profit more quickly in order to gain extra capital to help it recover from the 1.3 billion bookkeeping losses. Toshiba reduced its cash flow from 439.90 to 200 billion by broadcasting major mistake in order to keep it shortfall in gain the financial document. The advancement have made it possibility to Toshiba recording decreased capital measuring as a profit in the accounting report as a way to store profit for the future. Reconciling. For the last one is any relevant parties. The effect of the penalty imposed of this scandal to the other parties such as employees and perpetrator. For employee, Toshiba is cutting 7,800 jobs in the total as part of a measure to reduce cost of money and restructure for the Japan teach firm. Reduce their employment amounted to 7,800 job losses, even though they had expected suffering losses rather than profit as a result of the restructuring. This tool business supplied the majority of the employees. According to the result of the declining occupation, it will have a negative impact on Toshiba general representative for 3% and around 30% of the consumer tool business.
For conclusion, the Toshiba Corporation fraud case is a prime example of how unethical business practices can lead to severe legal and financial consequences. As a multinational electronic conglomerate, Toshiba was expected to uphold standards of corporate governance and transparency as well as comply with local and international laws. However, the company's top executive engaged in fraudulent accounting practices over several years to inflate the company profit and meet internal targets. The revelation of the fraud led to significant financial losses for Toshiba, as well as a tarnished reputation within the industry. The auditor, Ernst & Young, Shin Nihon LLC, is one of the main character in this case. To be effective auditor, we must maintain a constant focus on auditing and abstain from action that harm our professional standing. We should not make the same mistake as the Toshiba auditor, who did not recognize the error while evaluating the Toshiba Corporation accounts in Japan's worst bookkeeping scandal in years.
So we move to the last question, which is what lesson that we learned from the assignment. So the Toshiba fraud case give some impact and things that we learned from their mistakes. So firstly, it is of extreme importance that the internal check imposed in a corporation of such size is subjected to independent third-party audit, which can provide to the management a honest report. So next lesson that we learn is set restriction for management. So especially when management is under pressure to achieve target profit. So vast majority of fraud cases, just like Enron, WorldCom, are caused by company facing great pressure to maintain or improve their performance. So in this case, after fully recognizing and understanding management pressure, so strong balance system in the board of director, internal and also external audit and other aspects, and they strengthened the monitoring to prevent the scandal from happening. So as for how to recognize the management's pressure in timely manner and keep balance between each other, it needs further considerations. Other than that, regularly check the fraud risk assessment mechanism. So according to nearly 30 years fraud investigation, it reveals a startling fact that fraud cases are not eliminated at all. So instead, it shows an increasing trend, and almost all type of organizations face the threat of fraud risk. Toshiba is just one example of the fraud cases of many listed companies, just like Enron and before. So therefore, listed companies should integrate fraud risk into the radar system when setting goals and evaluating risk, and maintain the healthy operation of the company throughout the regularly checking the risk assessment mechanism and also fraud prevention measures. So next, enhance awareness of accounting compliance. So management and governance of the listed companies should have strong awareness of accounting compliance. So in the Toshiba's cases, fraud cases, so follow-up investigation indicate 98 executives involved in the fraud. So what worse is, it also found that the senior executive himself turned a blind eye to an even encourage the improper accounting practices. So however, with the rapid development of capital market and also legal system, listed company executive should understand the accounting compliance has increasingly become the mainstream of consequences. So they should enhance, or we should enhance, the awareness of accounting compliance throughout the personal daily training and teaching program. The next point is very makes sense, which is make full use of whistleblowing system. According to research, whistleblowing system is an important way to detect fraud in a large sample studies. So nearly 48.9% fraud cases are found through the whistleblowing system of employee, customer, and also suppliers. So relevant laws have even introduced to encourage tip-offs, and those who provide valuable tips would be offered a huge reward. So Toshiba was also brought to the attention of regulators by employees' reports revealing nearly 7 years of accounting misconduct to the public. So somehow we should protect the identification of the whistleblower. That's what we thought. So in conclusion, from our perspective, Toshiba's accounting scandal is an obvious violation of business ethics. So in order to cover up its poor earning and also present a good look financial report to the shareholder, so Toshiba manipulate accounting technique to overstating the earnings. So from our perspective, so it can be said that ethical conduct is so much important for running a business.